Elon Musk is going to be seriously mad about this. This is a Model Y refresh leak, probably, most likely actually. You can see that it has this new light, and this is the interior. This was posted on Reddit originally, and we seem to have the same perforated ventilated seats from the Model refresh. And I like that they made the back a little bit different from the Model 3, it seems. I think I like this one better actually. And Tesla Economics account is calling for someone who shared this to be fired immediately. I'm pretty sure that Elon Musk has seen this post from Tesla Economics as well already. There's also a good chance that Elon Musk will no longer follow this account because he amplified the leak by sharing it with his audience, which already got hundreds of thousands of views. Elon Musk before has unfollowed Sawyer because Sawyer shared a leak which was already shared earlier, so we could have some drama in the Tesla community soon. This is a rendering of how potentially the Tesla Model Y Juniper will look. Here's another rendering. I think actually it will turn out to look better than this. And actually, clearly this is not going to be very accurate because if you look at where the Tesla letters are, you can see that they are on top of this light bar, not under. So this rendering is definitely not accurate. Based on what Tesla is saying, likely the refresh is coming out early next year. And in 18 months, actually, we will have AI 5 or Hardware 5, which will be ready for high volume production by then, based on Elon Musk's prediction here, which, often is a bit optimistic. There are quite a few people that have Hardware 3 that are upset at Tesla. I personally have a Hardware 3 vehicle. I am sad, but I'm not upset at Tesla. It just is what it is. But Warren is starting a club of Tesla Hardware 4 owners angry about getting left behind when AI 5 comes out. And you will definitely want to click the like button because Tesla's stock is up, and we do have some good news today. Largely though, I think Tesla stock today is up because of the markets. If you do have Hardware 4, the good news is that there is a big wave of the latest FSD version going out right now, so check your car if you haven't yet. Dano Dowd has not stopped criticizing Tesla. He's actually running an ad, so that's helping X. It's not exactly the best for Tesla, I think, but he's really good at finding the absolute worst clips. So let's see how many clips did he find where you would have been killed by FSD. So this one, yellow light. Well, it was somewhat red, but most people drive like that. I think that's not a big deal to me. Okay, this is definitely not good, but it would not have killed you. Here, do not enter. Not good, but it would have not killed you. Okay, here it would have ran through this barrier. I think it's a pretty light barrier, so you probably would have been fine, but that was definitely not good. And here it ran through this big hole or pothole or whatever you want to call it. That was not great, but wouldn't have killed you. Okay, here it touched the curb and then the hubcaps flew off. That was not great, but no one got killed. Okay, so these are the absolute worst clips that he managed to find with FSD latest version being out for about 1 week. I think that's actually pretty nice because with 12.3.6, while that was a great improvement from V11, that version occasionally does try to completely crash my car. It doesn't happen very often, but it definitely happens. So when his first clip is this red light, which didn't pose any danger to anyone, yeah, I think we have made quite good progress. Obviously, it's not perfect and there are many issues still. We can definitely argue about the previous red light, but the thing is, many people would have taken that yellow red light. This one though, I don't think there's much arguing about this one. Definitely the vehicle should have stopped. There was plenty of time to stop. Look, the light just changed. So you have plenty of time. The truck accelerated though, and I think FSD saw this pickup truck accelerating and said, okay, we're gonna be fine. Now, the good news is I'm sure Tesla is aware of this issue, and I'm sure they have a way to fix it because they have done it in the previous versions where it wasn't exactly fine-tuned properly, and over a few updates, it was fine-tuned pretty well. And we are seeing that Tesla right now is testing a new version, probably 12.5.2. And by the time we have 12.5.3, probably is going to be pretty good with this issue. Also, it's so convenient for Dano Dowd to not show you clips like this, where obviously Tesla system saved the vehicle and the driver from a massive crash. It would have been absolutely ugly and utter disaster, and it was prevented because of Tesla. And no doubt wants to ban this technology. We have a very interesting development here, and Elon Musk commented on this as well. Uber partners with BYD on autonomous vehicles. Does this mean that BYD is going to compete against Tesla when it comes to autonomous technology? Well, if you remember, not a long time ago, BYD said that autonomous driving is basically impossible. So what's going on? And Elon actually said BYD needs to change course fast or they're in trouble. This is more an announcement from Uber than it is from BYD. Uber announced that they will start using BYD cars to develop autonomous capable vehicles. Uber plans to use 100,000 electric BYD cars on its ride-hailing platform starting in Europe and Latin America. The interesting part here is that BYD is probably going to have to pay higher tariffs on every vehicle sent to Europe. So this partnership is a bit interesting in that regard. This is good news, and Elon Musk commented on this as well. The European Commission has approved Blue Cruise for another country, and now it can be used in 17 countries, 15 of which are in the European Union. So if Ford can get their software approved in Europe, yeah, we should definitely be able to get FSD running in Europe as well. And Elon Musk definitely agrees with that. There's a new report about Tesla in India. It's reportedly interested in 3 states in India. Each state would be favorable for a specific business operation. One state is more favorable for exports, and another state is more favorable if Tesla wants to make a low-cost vehicle and I guess sell it more in India. The official statement for now from Elon Musk is that the Giga Mexico factory is put on the back burner until the election result is clear, and probably the same is true for India, at least to some degree. And at this moment, Tesla is not really in a big rush to build another massive factory. There's still quite a bit of unutilized capacity that Tesla has, except for the semi-factory, and we are making some progress with that. There is also some good news about the 2018 CEO Performance Award. There's a statement from a law school professor and a member of the Corporation Law Council that drafts updates of Delaware's business statutes. He says, now that Musk has the votes to ratify the grant, it will be much harder for the chancellor to say the shareholders were wrong. So support for Elon Musk in this regard from legal experts is pretty high. And this Friday, Tesla lawyers will gather in a Delaware courtroom to ask the chancellor to approve the 2018 compensation package. The Wall Street Journal piece created a lot of discussions about Tesla supposedly having to use LiDAR or radar. And basically in response to this, Omar posted that Tesla Model Y got the highest safety score ever in the European test. And Elon Musk reposted that, which got 23 million views already. This definitely helped Tesla sell a few more Teslas. Keep in mind this Forbes article is from 2022, so it's old news. But I definitely like Elon Musk posting things like that. It definitely helps Tesla. He even reposted this post congratulating the Tesla drivetrain team, which reached its 10 millionth drive unit produced across all of Tesla's factories. Elon also reposted this, and this is quite fascinating. In the first half of 2024, more solar and wind power was generated and consumed in the European Union than fossil power. The trend is definitely quite promising and really good, and it's not going to stop here. On LinkedIn, Tesla's senior manufacturing engineer for 4680 cell development posted this. He officially introduced the first ever dry cathode Cybertruck, and he did call it groundbreaking, and it really is. If Tesla can successfully scale this, the costs are going to be significantly lower, and Tesla is going to leave all the competition behind. It's a bit hard to believe that this is a serious article. Tesla doesn't know how to sell cars to normal people, but you remember that the Tesla Model Y is literally the #1 best-selling vehicle in the world, so that's why Elon Musk is laughing. In New Jersey, we have a Cybertruck emergency medical service vehicle. That's great for Tesla. I wasn't expecting this. I'm not really expecting to see a lot of Cybertrucks used by hospitals. It makes sense for police forces to use Cybertrucks, but this one is actually donated, so it makes sense. But if you already are injured and you are in a Cybertruck, and if someone bumps into the Cybertruck, I guess it wouldn't matter that much. So that's one use case that I can think of that, okay, maybe it would make sense for a hospital to use a Cybertruck. They are also really fast. This is pretty big and it's probably going to some degree upset China, but for Elon Musk, this is great. SpaceX could use Australia as a rocket launch pad after the nation approved an aerospace deal with the US estimated to be worth $1 billion. The move could support as many as 100 launches in Australia over the next 10 years. The deal is structured in such a way that it will protect the American technology. Can't imagine China being happy about the US coming a bit closer to China, but Australia is still pretty far away from China. But this, in some very indirect way, could not be ideal for Tesla. But for me personally, this part is exciting. Probably we will have a flight from the US to Australia with a SpaceX rocket, and you'll be able to do it in about 30 minutes. Mercedes will try and compete with the Tesla Model Y with a new battery-powered crossover set to be introduced next year. Currently, Mercedes is not doing exactly great with its EVs. They delivered 45,000 EVs in Q2, which is down 25% year over year. Also, this new Mercedes CLA will arrive in the US late next year. It looks pretty futuristic. It definitely stands out. It looks like a very expensive car, but that's still a concept, so it could change when it finally comes out. When combined with everything, we know that Tesla is going to spend about $10 billion this year alone on AI. And Elon said anyone not spending at that level is not going to be able to compete. Now, looking at some other companies, for example, Microsoft, on AI, or CapEx specifically, they are spending $13.9 billion. This was as of Q2. This is actually relevant to Tesla, even though this is not a Tesla competitor. It's relevant because if we are in a huge AI bubble right now, everything could just crash, including Tesla, which would really just be collateral damage. There's a fear that this could be like a dot-com bubble, but I agree with AJ, this is very different. PE, price earnings multiples, where in 250x range. This is not what's happening right now. These companies are making a lot of money. The companies during the dot-com bubble, they didn't make money. Rivian is doing what Tesla has already done a while ago, and you will no longer be getting a physical key fob when you buy these Rivian models, which I think is definitely the right move. I do not miss a key. I don't need to think about where am I going to put my key. Do I have my key with me? Where did I misplace it? No, I just have my phone and it's just there. The only issue that I have occasionally is I turn off Bluetooth and I walk up to the car and it's not opening because my Bluetooth is off. So then I just turn it on and bam, it works. And as a backup, you have the key card. Oh wow, I haven't checked Tesla's Altman Z-score in a while, but this is just stunning when you compare Tesla to these other companies. The Altman Z-score is usually used for companies in the manufacturing space to determine how likely the company is going to go bankrupt. The formula takes into account profitability, leverage, liquidity, solvency, and activity ratios. Tesla is firmly way above this safe zone. It's definitely super safe, but some legacy automakers are actually in the distress zone looking at this score. And of course, startups like Lucid and Rivian, there's a good chance they are actually going to be in deep trouble. Well, I mean, for Lucid, it's pretty much guaranteed. Rivian has a fighting chance, but it's going to be incredibly difficult. But congratulations to Lucid for producing its first release candidate, Gravity SUV. Lucid says it will be the best SUV in the world. Deliveries start later this year. I wish Lucid luck. They will definitely, absolutely need it to make the company work. BYD is trying to enter the Canadian market and it just employed lobbyists to help them do this on a global scale. Canada for Tesla is a relatively small market, but it is somewhat a little bit significant. So this is not exactly great news for that, but it's likely that Canada is going to put some tariffs on Chinese vehicles. Nothing official has come through from BYD, but supposedly BYD has already met with Canadian dealers about possibly creating local dealers in the country. According to Auto Forecast Solutions, BYD is being strategic and may be using Mexico and Canada as a port of entry for the Holy Grail, the US. We know that Canada is considering tariffs on Chinese vehicles, but supposedly that's going to be just a hurdle and not a barrier. It will all depend on how big the tariffs will be, I think. Well, if BYD cars come to Canada, at least I will be able to experience them firsthand. I think BYD is the biggest competitor to Tesla long term globally. And for me, it's just too much work to fly really far just to try a BYD vehicle. But if it's over here, I'll definitely try multiple BYD vehicles. Oh wow, you don't hear this often. Xbang CEO noted after yesterday's conference in China, Xbang may have the upper hand, but Tesla has the upper hand in terms of technology capabilities. In the meantime, check this out. Yesterday, I went to the mall and saw a bunch of crappy VinFast EVs littering the parking lot. When I passed the retail location, I saw them advertising a $249 a month lease on the VF8, which starts at $47,000. For comparison, the Model Y costs less, $45,000, but the cheapest advertised lease is $499. So VinFast is half the price if you get a lease. VinFast, though, limits mileage to 7,500 miles a year, and the lease term is 24 months. You also need to put a down payment of $2,000. That deal, though, is not going to work for most people. In the US, people drive 13,500 miles per year on average. Okay, well, I'm not a fan of this, but I have to report this because this is very relevant to Tesla. Elon Musk has challenged the leader of Venezuela to a physical fight, just like he did challenge Mark Zuckerberg. But it seems like the leader of Venezuela actually accepted. Doesn't seem like Elon thinks that the fight will actually happen because he said he will chicken out. But this guy seems to be somewhat serious. He said Elon can name any place, anytime, and he's gonna go at it. But if Elon chooses a location in the US, wouldn't he just be arrested? So I personally don't think this is going to happen, and obviously Elon is not going to go to Venezuela. He would probably be arrested the moment he steps in his foot in the country. Elon commented, Maduro is a big guy himself and probably knows how to fight, so this would be a real fight. Mark Zuckerberg is a little fella, so that would be a short fight. Looking at the screenshot from a Bloomberg terminal, Tesla's PE is close to 100, and at 100x PE, the market is clearly not valuing Tesla as just a car company, but for Tesla to go higher, the main driver of earnings, the EV business, which accounts for 80% of profits, has to stabilize, and most importantly, auto gross margins have to stabilize. Only then will investors look to the incremental contributions from Robotaxi and Optimus. Those who don't see that are sleepwalking, said Gary. But this is from last Thursday, and since then, we have a new FSD version going wider, and more people are experiencing it, and more people are getting more excited about FSD. EV profits and the gross margins from the auto business definitely don't need to stabilize or be really good for Tesla stock to go up. What needs to happen, or what can happen also, is FSD getting much better, and then the stock skyrocketing again. There's also the energy business, and Tesla also could have some breakthrough with the Optimus bot at any time. I'm not saying that an Optimus bot breakthrough is definitely going to happen soon. This one could take a while. But to say that this is the only way that things can play out, I think is definitely not accurate. And it's also possible that Tesla doesn't even need to make FSD safer than human driving for the stock to rally based on FSD, because if all of a sudden, all the analysts start coming out and saying, yeah, Tesla will definitely win this FSD game. And we already have Piper Sandler saying that you should buy Tesla because Tesla may have just solved the self-driving puzzle. When I read the statement from Piper Sandler, don't roll your eyes, buy Tesla, I was imagining Gary Black reading this and rolling his eyes. There's a high chance that actually happened. Keep in mind that Gary Black has now softened his tone on FSD, so a lot can happen in just how many days? 4 days. Last week, there were also a lot of discussions about Tesla's gross margins potentially going down to zero just to sell FSD. Let's say Elon Musk actually pursues this strategy. What would happen to the stock? I think it would drop. I think Gary is not wrong here. If Tesla auto gross margins drop to zero and Elon tries to make it up on FSD sales and licensing fees, Tesla stock will drop to under $100, assuming that FSD is not safer than human driving and that there's still a lot of skepticism about FSD. Of course, you guys already know what I would be doing. I would be buying a lot more. Gary continues, you got a taste of all of this already on Wednesday when Tesla stock dropped 12% after earnings. I and other institutions would of course be out. Seems like a better Tesla strategy would be to leverage a lower price FSD with 99.99% efficacy to sell more EVs. Ahmed Peppers commented as well, unfortunately, it seems more and more likely that this may be a ride all of us long-term investors will be forced to take if you want to continue to stay long-term investors. But all of this largely was said before everyone realized how big of an improvement this latest FSD version was. This just shows you how quickly things can turn around and then turn around again. We were on a big roll until the earnings call, after which we dropped quite a bit, and now we are coming back. Anyway, Piper Sandler says that Tesla stock is going to go to $300 in the next 12 months, and if you take out full self-driving from their assumptions, they would only have a Tesla stock price target equal to $77 per share. So every day, FSD is actually becoming more and more important to Tesla stock. Billy Baldwin had something to say. It's causing some drama in the Tesla community. He says, if you buy a Tesla, it's the same thing as voting for the former president. But elite, rich people who lean left are a small percentage of the population, and most rational people are morons. I agree with that. And when you buy a Tesla, you literally buy the safest car you can buy with the best technology that is available with autopilot and full self-driving. People need to stop politicizing everything. Also, if you buy a Tesla, you probably support people that tend to lean a little bit left in terms of employees that work for Tesla and everyone in San Francisco that works for Tesla. The hate for Elon Musk is a wonderful display of cognitive dissonance. The environment is super important, they say, and we need to do everything we can to make sure that the environment gets better. But the guy that's making the biggest difference for the environment, oh, he's just terrible. While there are a lot of individuals that actually care about the environment, when it comes to people in power, I think this makes sense. This is just a reminder that most of them could not care any less about the environment. Underneath the surface, it's a strategy for control, garnering votes, and making money with the ESG scams before it's entirely exposed. If you need any proof for that, just remember that a cigarette company had a higher ESG score than Tesla. Tesla had a score of 37, while Philip Morris had a score of 84. The only way that makes sense to me is if you say, okay, well, Philip Morris is better for the environment because it's going to reduce the population. That's the best way to improve the environment. That's it for today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. A big thanks goes to my Patreon supporters. Make sure to check out yesterday's exclusive video if you haven't yet. It's pretty good. By joining Patreon, you will have access to all of my exclusive videos on Patreon, as well as how much I am willing to pay for each Tesla share between 2024 and 2033. If you join the investor tier, you will also have access to my valuation model, where you will see all of my assumptions, including deliveries, the energy business, Tesla's future businesses like FSD, and of course much more. And then if you want to easily download that and put in your own numbers, then this third tier is for you. To all of my Patreon supporters, thank you so much. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't yet as well. It's really important to like the videos because that makes it less likely that the channel will be shadow banned later, like my other big channel got shadow banned before from about 50% of my regular viewers. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.